Welcome to the Andy Ruther Show. Here is your host, Andy Ruther.
Welcome to the Andy Ruther Show. That is me, your host, Andy Ruther, taking a nice swig of the kombucha. A little synergy, that's what it's called. A little synergy kombucha to start the night. Actually, it's more like end the night. It's almost 10:30 here, Wednesday night. I didn't get the show out like I had wanted to on this Wednesday. So we got another Thursday pod. Excuse me. You know, I said I'd make sure I'd get them out on Wednesday, but I have some workers at the house and it's really loud during the day, to be honest. So that's kind of been a no-go the last few weeks. So I got to make sure I record at night. So here we are. Anyway, the pod will be out. And that's all that matters, right? I'm not going to miss a week. We're doing it. We're here. We're happy. We went to the doctor today. We went to the doctor twice. And by we, I mean me. We had a ultrasound for Brittany in the morning at 8 a.m. And then Isla had her 18-month checkup at 3:20. So full speed ahead with the doctor visits today. So everything is good. Just want to give everybody an update. Everything is good. We have a healthy little baby sitting in there, little baby girl. Confirmed. It is a girl. They said it was a girl, but I needed confirmation. And the nurse tech or whatever she's called who's doing the ultrasound confirmed by pointing to her labia, as she called it, which I don't know, a little interesting verbiage. Her labia. I don't know what she should say, but I said, do we definitely know that it's a girl? And she said, that is her labia. And I said, also known as the cooter, also known as the snatch. I did not say that, but I wanted to. Truth, I wanted to. I do refer to Isla's little girl parts as snatch, which she doesn't like. Brittany doesn't like that. She wants me to be formal, call it the vagina. Anyway, guys, the little girl's healthy. Went to the ultrasound. Everything's good. Brittany's good. We're good. The ultrasound is funny to me because the baby looks like a gremlin. Every baby, now I've only done 2 of these, right? But every baby, there's nothing really to see, and the women love it. Right? Like, I mean, you see the baby moving, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But it looks like a gremlin. It looks like an alien. It doesn't really look like a human. I mean, you see the outline of a human. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I already know this. I think dudes can relate. Can you guys relate to this? Right? Like they print the pictures, for example, they print the pictures of the ultrasound. They do all these different angles of the baby. They print the pictures. And I really just don't care about those. I have no clue where Isla's ultrasound pictures are. I didn't care about these. In fact, Brittany just told me, where are the ultrasound pictures? I said, they're in my car. And she goes, get them right now. Get them. I knew you wouldn't leave them in a safe place. Get the ultrasound pictures. Who looks at ultrasound? Years from now, no one's looking at the ultrasound pictures. I've never walked into anyone's house ever and seen a framed picture of an ultrasound. Not once. Damn near 43 years old. Been on this earth almost 43 years. I have never walked in and seen a single framed photo of an ultrasound. It's just not interesting. There's no character. It's a black and white gremlin. That's what it is. I have my ultrasound. I have a picture of my ultrasound when we went through all the stuff with my mom. And guess what? It was buried in a box somewhere. In fact, it's buried, as I look at my closet over there, it's buried in a box again. So my mom buried it, and now it's buried again. So ladies, you need to explain this to me. What is so interesting about the ultrasound? I don't get it. The pictures, I mean, like, what's so interesting? I mean, it's cool to say, hey, you started here. You used to look like a gremlin. You used to look like something from the movie Alien, and now you're crushing Cheetos. Like, that's kind of cool, right? You used to be in my stomach, and now you're throwing temper tantrums on the floor because you got to go to daycare. That's cool. But the pictures, they're just not that interesting. So I don't get it. But the good news is everything is good, and we are mowing along, guys. Baby number 2 is right around the corner, and I am trying to prep myself. I already forgot about the baby stuff in a weird way. Like, it hit me tonight because this baby will be here. I count down the months. So she's technically due February 7th. Baby will probably be about a week early because we'll do a C-section again. So I figure October, November, December, January. I got 4 months. Guys, I got 4 months. And then it gets real. It gets real in about 4 months. I'm trying to prep myself. In fact, I told Brittany today, I go, so, like, what's going to happen when I bring home Isla and TBD baby from daycare? Like, and you won't be home for an hour. It's only an hour, but I was like, it just hit me. She's not gonna be able to crawl right away. I'm such an idiot. Like, oh, I can't like just play with her right away. She's a baby. Like, you forget you take the kid to the daycare like 3 months old. You're like, oh, I'll be a little over 2, and the baby I'll just have to hold. I can't just like play with her. It'd be great if you could just fast forward to month 6 with the baby. I'd probably say month 6 is when it starts getting cool. And then it really starts getting cool when they can crawl. And then even better when they can walk. My neighbor's like, oh, wait until she can walk. He's got 2 young girls. He's like, oh, you got to watch everything. Yeah, you do. But then you can also play with them, man. That's the best part. Wrestling with them. Like, I wrestle with Isla all the time. Wrestle around. Like, that's the best part. But it just hit me. I was like, man, I got like 4 months of this. Because like I'm getting in the groove now. I'm in a nice rhythm. I'm like an athlete. When an athlete gets in a rhythm, you get a groove. I'm in that. I'm in a nice rhythm. I know how to read the defense. I know what I'm up against. I feel good for the most part. And then suddenly I'm about to lose my starting offensive lineman. And I'm going to be running against everything again. My back's against the wall. I got another kid coming. But again, I think it's just like those first like 6 months you got to get through. But anyway, it's all good. It's all good. And everything's good with Isla. We took her to the doctor today, or I did. She got a couple vaccines and she got her finger pricked because they needed to do a lead test. She didn't even care about that, but it was the Band-Aid. The Band-Aid was like pissing her off and she was going crazy. She's wild. I was just letting her walk around the doctor's office because she doesn't want to stay in the room. And she was down to her diaper and socks. I was just letting her walk around the halls. I didn't care. Just some baby walking around the halls in diaper, socks, just walking up to strangers saying hi. I mean, I was there. She's personable. I like I might just keep her. She wants to learn everything, right? She's at that age. She's 19 months old. She wants to learn everything. So it's like, if you want to walk around the doctor's office, you can do that. You can see cool things, man. Right? Like a baby, like at her age, it's like when you're on edibles, everything is just like so cool. That's probably the analogy I would use. Right? When you get really stoned and you're like, whoa. and you start thinking about things. Like her mind is blown. I'm showing her there was a boat on the wall. And I'm like, that's a boat. And she's like, boat? And I'm like, yeah, boat. And then there was another one. I said, that's another boat. Boat? Yep, that's a boat. Right? I guess the equivalent is you get baked and you're like, what if there's two universes and everything is the exact same? Like there's a second Andy Ruther at this very moment doing exactly what I'm doing, pointing to the camera like me, exactly like me. Right? Like that's a conversation you have when you're stoned. But that's kind of how the mind works at this age, I think, for a baby. So it's pretty badass. I can't get enough of this Diddy stuff, guys. I can't get enough. Like my timeline is just nothing but Diddy on Twitter now. I can't get enough of it. It's too good. And then his lawyer today said some wild stuff. His lawyer today used Costco as the excuse why he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let me just pull this clip up. This clip's pretty wild. This is what Diddy's lawyer said. First of all, why would you say this? I don't know why he would say this, but this is what Diddy's lawyer said today.
Since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's about almost 3 o'clock now. He's just laser focused. He's engaged. He's helpful. He's confident. You know, we're going through our defense as we do every day.
But what does that mean? He's laser focused. He's confident. Dude, they raided every single house. What is he focused on? There's nothing to be focused on. This guy's so full of shit.
And his spirits are relatively good.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think.
But I love this. But first of all, where is he getting interviewed? It's like he's in a back alley. He's just kind of casually dressed. He looks like he just left the meeting for his local corporation. He just gave a speech or a presentation on something. That's how he looks. And I like how she just asked him. You got to ask him. Why has he got $1,000? I'm sorry, 1,000 bottles of baby oil or lubricant?
I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know.
Bro, that's what we're going with? That Americans buy in bulk and there's a Costco down the street. I think he says, let me continue playing this. I think he says that there is a Costco near all his houses. Let me see this. Doesn't he say that?
And you know, this is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do. You know, we can't get so puritan.
Hold on, let me go back.
Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And you know, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And you know, this.
Okay, so it wasn't something else, but I thought I saw that he said there's always a Costco where all his houses are. Yeah, dude, I lived in Los Angeles. When I lived in Los Angeles, there was a Costco down the street from me. As a lot of you guys know. When I lived in Venice Beach, there was a Costco down the street from me in Marina Del Rey on Washington Boulevard. I literally went to Costco once a week. I was doing Costco before the Costco guys were doing Costco. And we'll get to them in a minute. I love Costco. I went to Costco and I lived in a 390 square foot apartment in Venice Beach. I had no reason to be at Costco. None. My apartment was tiny. I had a baby fridge. I wasn't even in a grown adult fridge. It was like a fridge between the college mini fridge and an adult fridge. I was somewhere in between there. I had no room, but I went to Costco once a week because it was a thing. And I don't drink alcohol, so I don't have much of a social life. And I enjoyed it. And I liked walking around, and it was relaxing for me. But not once, and I'm a single dude, did I ever buy bulk lubricant or bulk baby oil. Not once. Not once. Didn't even cross my mind. Didn't even know that Costco had bulk Johnson & Johnson baby oil. Didn't even know that existed. And that's what this is your lawyer, Diddy? Your lawyer is using Costco because Americans buy in bulk as your defense. It's unbelievable. I do want Diddy to do a collaboration. He's got to do a collaboration with the Costco guys. You guys know the Costco guys? The dad and the son from TikTok, right? Sorry, this kombucha is making all these funny noises. You guys know the Costco guys, right? I laugh every time I see this because these guys are so ridiculous. These guys.
Costco guys. Of course we go shopping while eating a chicken bake.
We're Costco guys. Of course we had to try the new double chunk chocolate cookie.
We're Costco guys. Of course we have to try out the furniture.
You know what? Again, I was doing it before these guys were doing it. Why was I not doing this on TikTok? I was a Costco guy. I wasn't Costco guys. I was doing it by myself. Literally. Andy goes to Costco. We were making videos. Am I a little angry I wasn't doing this first? Or that I wasn't doing this on TikTok? Yeah. I'm a little butthurt. A little jealous. Shout out to my boy Nick D'Alessandro. Had the idea, let's start filming you going to Costco. And we did like 4 or 5 of these, right? Andy goes to Costco. And then the pandemic hit and it ruined everything. I'm just saying, I was doing this. They were a little longer. These guys are doing a lot of jump cuts. Right? Look at these guys.
Costco guys. Of course we work out with the tires.
We're Costco guys. What the heck is this thing?
What are the odds that this kid ends up a drug addict? I'd say like 50% or greater. The Costco guy kid ends up being a drug addict. Like, does he overdose on drugs before the age of 21? If I was betting, I would say there's pretty good odds on that.
We're Costco guys. Of course we look at every TV in the place every time we come in.
We're Costco guys. Of course we get the sample even though we bought the thing the last 3 times we were here.
Okay, you guys, we don't have to watch any more of this. You guys know this. We know who the Costco guys are. We know who they are. And I know other people have talked about this. I saw Tim Dillon was ranting about this on his podcast. Very funny, by the way, what Tim Dillon was saying. But I do find it funny that I was doing this and then these guys come along and now Diddy's lawyer is basically saying, he's a Costco guy. Of course you buy 1,000 bottles of lube. He's a Costco guy. Well, it wasn't actually 1,000. He's a consenting adult. Right? That's what he says at the end here.
This is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do, you know.
Consensual adults do not buy 1,000 bottles of lubricant from Costco. I don't know a single consensual adult who does that. And that's just what they're doing. That's just what they're doing. He's a consensual adult. They all have freak offs. They all drug each other and film it and, rape and sodomy. They all do it. They're consensual adults. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, come on. What kind of question? It wasn't 1,000 bottles of lube. He's a Costco guy. He bought like 600. I mean, what are we? What are we? A bunch of Puritans? And they say that.
No, we can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow sex is a bad thing, because if it was, there'd be no more people.
So that is his. I love that. If there was, dude, listen to this guy's stretch. You got to love lawyers. His stretch went from we're consensual to if we didn't have sex, there'd be no more people. Bro, I don't think the determined outcome, the determined goal of Diddy's freak-offs was procreation. He wasn't like, hey, we have a decreased population in a lot of countries, including the United States. The population is declining. People are having less kids. I'm going to be the person who takes this upon me as my cause to produce more kids by orchestrating freak-offs where I purchase the lube at Costco. Because I'm a Costco guy. We're Costco guys. Of course we have freak-offs in the bathrooms. Because we're Costco guys. Diddy is screwed, man. You know how lawyers are usually polished and they're good? And I don't know who this guy is. This is like better call Saul type of lawyer. I think Diddy's screwed. I think he's screwed. That's all I needed to see. Diddy's screwed. He's screwed. He used Costco as an excuse, and if people don't have sex, then we can't continue humanity. That's the stretch he's making. This is a far cry from O.J. Simpson's dream team. This is a far cry from Robert Shapiro and Johnny Cochran and Robert Kardashian and Alan Dershowitz and all those lawyers. This is a far cry from that. This guy's like, yeah, I mean, what are we doing? You know, we just like, he bought some lube. He's a consenting adult. It wasn't 1,000 of them. Diddy's just trying to make the world a better place by producing more kids. He might have videotaped it, and he might have had sex with men, which doesn't actually mean that you're going to procreate. I know, but he's consenting adult. Now, was he consenting for the filming of them? Maybe not, but come on. We've all filmed someone without their knowledge, blackmailed them, roofied them, date raped them. I mean, what are we doing? We're all consenting adults, are we not? I wonder if Diddy can make it to January 1st, 2025. Since he has so much dirt on famous people, politicians, probably monarchs in different countries, probably the Jeffrey Epstein thing. I wonder if he can make it. I don't know. But I'll be following it closely, as you guys can tell, because I can't get enough. I can't get enough of it. It's juicy, right? It's juicy, like that Biggie Smalls hit. It's fucking juicy, man. And it's pretty great. It's pretty great. So we do have a couple calls today I would like to get to. We got a couple calls. We have a hotline, 859-935-0078. Had to look that one up. I don't know it off the top of my head. This is a Northern Kentucky area code, by the way. Yeah, not even Cincinnati. I couldn't get a Cincinnati one. Those were all taken. Had to go Northern Kentucky. 859-935-0078. We'll take a call from John Smith, who's called the show before. Let's get to John again.
Andy, love the story about the youth football. Have one for you as well. Daughter plays for her middle school team. She's an 8th grader. Proud of her. She is the starting defensive end for the team, one of the 2 defensive ends. So first game of the year, the left side of the line of her team is just leaking like a sieve. So they end up losing in overtime 8-6. And the next day, one of those linemen on the left side decide not to come to school on Thursday because, well, no, comes to school, but decides to not go to practice because he thinks the team is going to run. So the next day, Friday, we're driving my daughter to school, and we're talking about it. She goes, yeah, he's a little bitch boy. And she goes, I'm going to hit him all over the place if I get a chance. Now, that's what a kid's supposed to do. Stay dirty.
Wow. Sounds like you got a little badass daughter there, John. So, previous episode, I had talked about, for context, my nephew's 7th grade football team, they were losing 30-0, and the rule was that they don't do the score anymore on the scoreboard. So, that's the context of this call. I was complaining, saying, why are they doing that? Because my nephew's team ended up getting 18 points and the final score was 30-18. I don't understand why they would stop showing the score as if it didn't matter, or if that none of the touchdowns or points existed. It was weird to me. And then the other team, with a minute 47 left in the game, decided to just end the game. They were up 30-18. They had the ball. They could have just taken 3 kneel downs and the game would have been over, but they just ended the game. So that's the context. And I thought that was ridiculous. And I still do. Like, finish the last 2 minutes of the game. Just finish it. So Smith is calling to talk about his daughter's team and then being soft as well. Look, man, here's the thing. Everybody is always softer than the previous generation. I think we can all agree to that, right? Like, my parents' generation is softer than their parents. My generation is softer than my parents. This next generation is softer than us. The problem is, at some point, you can't keep being soft, right? I don't want to sound like an old boomer here, but at a certain point, you just can't keep being soft, because where does that go? I always think about that. Like, if a world war broke out, I don't know, man. Like, we're not tough. We're not tough. Like, that was wild to think what they were fighting for. And I think World War II is very interesting, and I like history, and you read about it and you watch documentaries. World War II in color is great on Netflix. It's very interesting. I just don't see, at least Americans, having that same mentality that was in the 40s. Everything's just different. And I think these things, these cell phones and all the technology, is definitely made us all softer. Right? I mean, we got a generation of fat little kids talking about being Costco guys eating double chunk cookies. I mean, I used to do that, is what I'm saying. Like, I used to go to I was a Costco guy. I still am a Costco guy. You know, how hard can it be? You know how easy our life is? Do you know how easy our life is? I can just roll up to Costco and get whatever I want in bulk. That didn't even happen, like, with my dad growing up, my mom growing up. My mom grew up on a farm. My mom didn't have plumbing until she was 7 years old, which is wild. She didn't have indoor plumbing until she was 7. My mom was born in 1950. Now, that's probably rare, right? So she didn't have indoor plumbing until 1957, which is pretty insane if you think about it. Now I can just roll up to Costco. I can get anything. I can book vacations. I can get cars. Costco has discounts for cars. Yeah, anything you want. I do think about that sometimes. Isn't it pretty insane? Does anybody else think about this? I do. Like, I'll open my fridge and be like, this is crazy. I'm eating pineapple and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. How did I got fresh pineapple in Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't live anywhere near a place that could grow pineapple. Like, I'm the farthest from a place that could actually harvest pineapple. And I can just go to my grocery store and I can just pick it out and I can eat it. And as I've gotten older, I think about that stuff more. Maybe I'm entering that total dad stage of my life where you think about stupid things like that. But it's pretty crazy if you think about it. If you want to break it down, my point is that's why we're all softer. We're all softer because things are so much easier. I remember when I bought my car, or when I own it now, but when I started leasing it in 2019, my basic, practical, nothing fancy Toyota Corolla hatchback, which is going to have to go, by the way. It pains me. Could barely fit one kid in that thing. 2 kids are not going to work in the Corolla. It's going to pain me to let the Corolla go, but that's a sidebar. We had a nice run. But anyway, my point was that when I got the Corolla in 2019, it had Apple CarPlay, which is still pretty new, relatively new. When I signed my lease, January 2019, I remember thinking how cool CarPlay was. Right, there's a screen right in front of me. I plug my phone in. It's got all my apps. It's got the map, podcast, Spotify, you name it. Literally like a mini TV right in front of me. But it makes us soft and makes us dumb. Now I can't go anywhere without putting into Google Maps now. Right? I can't go anywhere. Even places I know how to get to, is there a faster way? They make, we're all addicted to this stuff, and I am too. They just make us stupid. So we're softer. So now this generation, again, is softer than the previous, and the one before that is softer than the one before that. It just goes down and down and down. And that's why these kids can't communicate nowadays either. Like nobody can talk to anybody. Everybody's buried in their phones. And that's why with Isla, I try not to be buried in my phone. Also, I don't want her realizing I'm looking at my phone because she already wants to look at my phone. She already wants to look at Brittany's phone. It's fascinating. At such a young age, she already wants to look at the phone. She wants to see videos. She wants to watch stuff. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I appreciate the call, though, Smith. I'm glad your daughter's a badass. Now, 8th grade, will she try to play in high school? Because, at a certain point, boys and girls, puberty, boys just get so much bigger. But good for her for wanting to take it out on the teammates, wanting to toughen them up. We need a little of that in life. We need it. Now, my nephew left a call as well, which is pretty interesting. My 7-year-old nephew left a call on the hotline. I did not plan this. I did not expect this. I guess he watched the first part of the last episode talking about my dad. I was sharing stories about the late, great Walt Ruther. And I guess my sister-in-law, edited around it. And he loved it. So this is shout out to my nephew, Nolan. I see you, Nolan. Much love, brother. Shout out to Nolan. Nolan left a call to talk about my show.
I did not even know you had a podcast, but I watched episode 19 and it was brilliant.
Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? Nolan called episode 19 brilliant with a B. I did not pay him to do this. I did not pay my sister-in-law to do this. I definitely didn't pay my brother, because God knows he hasn't listened to this show. In fact, my 7-year-old nephew, my godson, Nolan might be the first Ruther to actually listen to the Andy Ruther show. He probably is. I don't think a single family member has listened to the show. But Nolan, coming through. What else you got? What's going on, Nolan? Let's talk about it.
Yes, I loved it. It was my favorite part is it was going on sweets. And he's blowing down the sweets. That part was the funniest for me. I did not even.
Okay. That's the end of the call. Well, thanks. I think at the end, it's tough to understand. I think he was talking about last episode when I was sharing the story about my dad getting mad when he was eating ice cream. And I told him, Dad, you're eating too many sweets. And he told me how annoyed he was with me and took a big scoop of the ice cream, shoved it in his mouth, and then walked downstairs. I think that's what Nolan was talking about. Appreciate the call, Nolan. Maybe I'll bring Nolan on the show. Nolan's a very, very smart and inquisitive young kid. He's a very smart kid. And he's really smart because he called me brilliant. So he's even smarter than I thought he was because he called the episode brilliant. Now, I hope and I assume mom did not continue to let him listen because I went into a huge discussion about P. Diddy's arrest last week. That would be a little wake-up call for young Nolan. Learning about freak-offs and Diddy, Costco, 1,000 bottles of lube. I bet he walked into school and was like, hey, I listened to my Uncle Andy's podcast, episode 19. I guarantee he did. I don't know if he did, but I guarantee he did. And the teacher was like, oh, cool. Your uncle has a podcast? And the teacher looks it up and she's like, what? He's talking about Diddy's arrest, orgies and freak-offs. And my sister-in-law gets a call later that day. Hey, we're going to have to talk. What are you letting your kid watch? No, she didn't let him watch that. I hope not. Appreciate the call, though, Nolan. Appreciate it. You guys also can leave a call. 859-935-0078. What I need to do is teach Nolan. He's a smart guy. We talk about technology. He's a smart kid. I need to teach him how to leave a review, right? Because those are still a thing. You can drop a podcast review right now if you're listening to the show, if you enjoy it. Or if you don't enjoy it, I don't really care. Just pause it right now. Leave a podcast review on Spotify or Apple. Apple will actually let you leave a comment. I'm always curious for you guys' feedback. So you guys can go ahead and do that if you want. Or you don't have to. No one's got a gun to your head. We're not at that stage yet. You just it's free will. You guys can do whatever you want. Whatever pleases you. Just trust yourself. That's what I've learned in life. Just trust yourself. Do what you want to do. Trust your gut. People always ask me about things, and I always say, trust your gut. You know yourself better than anyone. And sometimes you got to be weird. Sometimes you got to be quirky. Sometimes you got to just go for it. Guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. I think my brain is fried. I think it is fried. It's not even that late. I think it's fried. I am mentally trying to prepare for this second child walking in to my house. I can't wait for those shows. Those are going to be amazing Andy Ruther shows. I'm working on 3 hours sleep, looking like a crackhead. Those will be some fun ones. I saw a great comedy show on Friday with my brother, Brittany, my brother's wife. And I talked about it a little on Dirty Sports. I saw Nick Swartzen, comedian Nick Swartzen. And I laughed his entire set. I just want to say it was such a great set. And I've thought a lot about it. You know why I love the comedy set so much? Besides that he's a brilliant performer, he does great impersonations, he's an amazing storyteller, all the things that would make for a great stand-up comic. I liked it because he was just goofy and weird and fun. There was nothing political, nothing controversial. Not that I don't like that stuff, because I do. I have no problem with political commentary, political jokes, controversial stuff. My point is that Nick was just goofy and weird and fun. You leave that show and you go, that's a guy I'd like to get bombed with. That's a guy I'd like to take edibles with. He's just a fun dude. He's a great performer, and you can just tell it. You can just tell it he's a great dude. That's what I'm getting at. And obviously, I've seen so many shows. I've performed in so many shows. So I have a background for this. And I was talking about it with my little brother. I just said, man, it was just so great because he's just sharing funny stories about taking too many edibles are getting too drunk. There's nothing controversial about it. There wasn't any divisive political stuff. And the truth is, it's tough to avoid that at this stage. We obviously are in the middle of an election season. It's 5-6 weeks away. It's tough to get it doesn't matter where you go, whether it's social media, driving your car, you see political signs, bumper stickers. Anywhere you go, conversations with friends, family. It was a great 70-minute set where there was none of that. None of it. And I found it very, very, very refreshing. Again, it doesn't mean that I don't like political jokes or commentary or satire, whatever it is, because I do. But I just found it just a breath of fresh air to sit through an entire comedy set of 70 minutes where there was none of that. And him just sharing stories of being a degenerate. Because also I can relate, right? I was that for so many years of my life. And I just felt that. I was like, oh, I get what you're talking about, dude. I feel you. I've woken up in places and not remembered. How did I get here? I've taken too many edibles, and for me, it's not many because I'm a lightweight. It's been legal. It's been legal here for I don't know how long. Well, it was passed last November, but the dispensaries have been open for like 6 or 7 weeks. I haven't bought any. I haven't needed it. I don't really mess with it that much, to be honest. I like these little drinks, these like 5 milligram drinks I'll do occasionally, or maybe a 5 milligram gummy, or I got these chewable tablets that are 3 milligrams. Because I just know when you have a young kid, you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, I don't want to be baked with a kid waking up. I didn't mess with it at all when she was a baby because you never know if you got to go to the hospital. You don't want to be under the influence of that stuff. That's the last thing you need is that type of paranoia. Right. Gone are those days where I didn't have anything to worry about. And the truth is, I'd be lying if I said I don't miss those days sometimes where I had no responsibilities. None. Not a single responsibility. I'm talking the days when I lived in Venice Beach, didn't date anybody, didn't have a significant other, just did my thing. That's what I miss sometimes. It doesn't mean I don't love my life now, because I do. I feel a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. I'm very blessed, for lack of a better term. I feel good. It doesn't mean, though, that I don't miss that sometimes. And I can openly say that. I don't want to go back to that. You know what it is? It's no responsibilities. It's none. Like Fridays, you know what I used to do on Fridays? I literally would get up, eat breakfast, exercise, work out, and I go to the beach afterwards. I'd pack a little lunch or something. I'd hop on my bicycle because I like to get away from the tourist of Venice Beach. I go like a mile or maybe half a mile south of Marina del Rey, just post up at the beach for the day. Bring a book, bring a journal, hop in the water, take some naps. Just not a single responsibility in the world. That's what I'll miss at times. Just nothing to worry about. Not a damn thing. Nothing with a kid, a wife, brothers, nothing. I'll miss that sometimes. But I wouldn't want to have that all the time. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference. It'd be nice to have that occasionally. Oh, like I got a day to myself. I get a day where I don't have to worry about anything. But the truth is, after that day, I'd miss Brittany. I'd miss Isla. And the thing with me now, I get geeked to pick her up from daycare. She could stay at daycare longer, but I miss her. I want to see her because I love it. I love getting her. I love seeing her. Again, I feel a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. But that lack of responsibility, that was a fun time because you know what? I had it. I bet you not many dudes can compare what I had. That's the truth. Because a lot of dudes had girlfriends or significant others or serious jobs. I never had that ever. Ever. For the most part, my entire time in Los Angeles. I was definition of bachelor life. Just total beach bum, living the dream. Made just enough money to do my thing, pay my rent, get by, have fun. It was a great time capsule. I look back on that, I'm like, man, you can do shit. It's crazy, man. But again, I love it now. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's harder now. Definitely more fulfilling. My outlook on life has changed so much after having a kid. It's changed so much. How could it not? Just the same way my outlook on life changed after my parents died. How could it not? Just the same way my outlook on life changed after I had a traumatic brain injury. If my outlook didn't change after those events, then there's something wrong with me, to be honest. Your outlook should change after life-altering events. And hopefully it changes for the better. But yeah, I definitely think about it sometimes. And that's perfectly normal. It's not like, oh, I want that life again. I couldn't do that. No way. Couldn't do it. You know what's funny though? You know what the best part about those days would be too? If you've been in the sun all day and you come home and you take that nap on the couch. Like you haven't gotten in the shower yet and you still got the sunscreen all over you. And you just feel that bronze tan from the natural sun, that vitamin D all over your body. And you're just like, today was a great day. I didn't do a damn thing. But now, I got to get up. I got to get a girl diaper changed. I got to get her ready for school. It's not that hard. I mean, it's not that hard. Like I'm not, again, we thought, to bring it back to the earlier in the episode, I'm not fighting a war. I'm not fighting Nazis. I'm not fighting kamikaze Japanese fighter pilots. Like let's just call it what it is. Perspective is everything. Like it's not, I'm not digging ditches here. I'm not a coal miner. I'm taking a daughter to daycare. It's not that hard. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up on that because someone's got to get some sleep. All right. That is the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Any suggestions, I'm always open to. So call the hotline, 859-935-0078, or drop me a DM on Instagram, Twitter. You guys know where to find me. It's all at Andy Ruther. All right, guys, that's the show. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week.